Hello and welcome to Morris Park. Today I want to show you some succulents I got here this last week, right before Christmas. They were sent in 3 packages by my uncle, Mr. Walton Smith. We affectionately know him as Jet. Jet sent me 3 different boxes. Jet lives up in St. Mary's, Alaska. He didn't send these directly from where he lives, but ordered these online and thought I might like these, which I very much do. A lot of these here, as you'll see, are echeverias. Graptopedilums is the majority. You see the little red one there. I'm not up on a lot of my names with echeverias. I believe the little blue one to be an elegans, but mostly echeverias. Graptopedilum. I have a couple of Senechios here too. He got me 2 Senechios right there. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure the exact species, but recognize them pretty quickly as Senechios. Also, some sempervivums. Now, these sempervivums I probably won't plant up and keep inside. I'll plant them up temporarily just for right now to get them in some nice new soil and give them a little room. These actually do very well here outside, but right now it wouldn't be very good just to throw them outside because they've been so used to warm it would probably kill them. So this summer what I'll probably do is plant them within our rock garden. Sometimes you can find some really cool rocks here that have holes in them and stuff that you can actually plant these in. They do quite well. So those will probably go outside. The other succulents here, the echeverias and graptopedilums, I think I'm going to make a arrangement with them, a single arrangement. And then the Senechios there, I'm going to put them in individual pots by themselves. They're kind of special. Also, he sent me 5 little cacti. This one I believe to be a Mammillaria zeomaniana. Now, it's been a long time since I had one of these. The last time I had one of these was probably 35 years ago out in California. I lost it out there. They have beautiful, beautiful flowers. If you ever bring this up and see pictures of them, they get really nice crowns of flowers, and their flowers are a little larger than most Mammillarias, and they're very showy. And I've wanted one of these again for a long time, and he got me one. The next one is a Parodia. The exact species I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure just by the shape and form that it is a Parodia. The one next to it, of course, is a Parodia Lenninghausii. Used to be listed under Nodo cactus, but most all your Nodo cactus now are listed under Parodias. They've kind of changed the names up on them. So there's my 2 Parodias. The next one is a seedling golden beryl, Echinocactus grissonii. Very spiny little guy. And the next one is a form of Opuntia microdaces. It's kind of got lighter spines than the normal one I have. So it's a little bit different variation, which I like that. I like varieties of things. So I got the 4 cactus, and I think 5 cactus, and I think I'll plant them all in one arrangement too. So in just a bit, I'll get my containers together and have these planted up. Okay, so I wanted to show you before I got going here and planting all these little guys up, what I use for my soil components. Basically, it's like a 4-part mix. I use coconut coir. This is basically a non-acid potting medium. It's concentrated, so it's kind of in a block. If you look, it's a compressed block, and what you do is you soak this in water. I usually take my wheelbarrow outside there, kind of like it shows in the picture here. You put the brick in, fill it with a little bit of water, and it expands out to a great big bag of soil. I like this because it doesn't have the acidity that some of the other commercial potting mixes have. And I've had trouble with some of my cacti, actually. Not so much succulents, but cacti being able to grow in things like a peat-based mix. Some of the companies out there, well, actually most of your commercial potting soil companies use a peat moss-based mix, And for some cacti, they really just don't like it on the roots, especially when they get older. Sometimes they'll take it well when they're small, but as they get older, it seems to burn their roots off, especially if they come from a natural habitat that is a limestone-based soil. The other component is perlite. Now, some people don't like using perlite because of the fact that it likes to swell up a little bit and float. It's basically what they call volcanic glass. It's like a puffed glass product. It crushes very easily within your fingers. But I find that it does give some aeration to the soil and helps lighten it up a little bit. Other components that I'm putting in this mix are actually quite heavy. The other one I use is limestone gravel. This is pretty easy to get around here. And as a matter of fact, I got this right out of my driveway. Missouri and the Ozarks is basically on limestone. This is pretty much what everything sits on this limestone. And they used to pave our roads, and we paved our driveway with it, and it's known as chat around here. That's pretty much the term used for it. And this is kind of a fine gravel here, and I just used it to kind of give the soil some grit. So we got that. The other thing I use is this. Now this is dolomite limestone, actually decomposing dolomite. When it's not decomposing, it's actually pretty hard. But this stuff here breaks down into like a limestone sand. I'll show you here. It kind of breaks up real easy, as you can see, and it breaks down into like a sand. Usually, I'll take a hammer and kind of break this stuff up a little bit. This one's being a little bit hard. And you see it kind of breaks into this fine sand. It almost blends in with the concrete, because basically that's what concrete's made of to its lime. It breaks into this little mix, and you can see it almost sparkles a little bit in the light. So it almost has like a crystalline structure to it. And this makes a nice, good, sandy base, especially when you want a limestone-based soil, like many cacti do. Many of your desert-type cacti like this type of soil. If you were planting something like epiphytic cacti or anything like that, you probably wouldn't want to use this because they do like a more acid soil. And so most of your commercial potting mixes with the peat base is fine for epiphytic cacti. But today we're not going to be using this for epiphytic cacti, so I'm going to make this limestone-based mix for these little guys here. And we'll get this planted up, and I'll show you what this looks like. So, in just a minute, we'll have this planted up. Now, I wanted to show you basically what the soil looked like before I actually planted things up. This is what it looks like all mixed up. You can kind of see it has a real sandy look to it. It's got the perlite all mixed through it, and you can see this limestone pieces in there for the grit. So it makes a real nice limestone-based, well-drained soil. Now, as far as the proportions and everything and how many parts to what, I'm going to be honest with you, I actually don't know. I just mix this stuff till it looks good to me. When it looks like this, that's good cactus mix. Now, if I was planting something with tuberous roots or caudex or something like that, it would probably even be leaner, and it would almost look like concrete mix because it would have that gray color to it from the dolomite limestone. Even though the coconut coir would be in there, you wouldn't see it quite as much because plants with a caudex or tuberous roots need a lot more drainage and less organic material. But this seems to be a good mix. I just mix it up till I think it looks good like this. This is what I look for. And I'll get this planted up and show you what it all looks like. But first I'll show you this. This is the container I'm going to use for the cacti. Nice stoneware container. I got this at Menards not long back. And I like these low containers. And I'm always a sucker for stoneware. Now, the only thing I can tell you about these pots is you notice the inside is not all the way glazed. Now, a lot of people plant cactus and succulents in plastic pots or pots that are glazed on the inside exclusively because it's easier to transplant them out when they get too root bound in them. Because sometimes roots can actually stick to these rougher surfaces like the stoneware on the inside here. Myself, I don't worry too much about it. I really like a nice pot to show off my plants, and so I go with the nice pot over ease of transplanting. And sometimes I will have to admit it, sometimes it can get a little difficult, whereas with the plastic pot, the stuff's going to slide right out, folks, and it's going to make life a lot easier. But like I said, I'm kind of a sucker for these stoneware pots. Before I get to putting any soil or anything like that or planting it, one thing I will do, I'll put a little piece of a broken pot in there, terracotta pot, just to cover that hole. Now, a lot of people like to put a lot of broken pots or grit or gravel or something in the bottom. I really don't care to do this. I've had some experiences where, like, mold and stuff and fungi can actually grow in the bottom of the pots like this. So I tend to stay away from doing that. All I want to do is keep the soil from coming out of the pot. So, I'm going to get this planted up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so there it is. I've got the little cacti all planted up. You can see I've used some of my cool rocks that have all the little holes and stuff like that in them. What I call the moon rocks. There you go. Little pieces of perlite there. I'm going to have to kind of brush them off. There we go. That one's not too sharp, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's see, got a little one right there. I'll use my fingernail for that because Opuntia microdices has kind of sharp spines, but I can't seem to get that one off right now. I'll have to brush it off with a little brush later. And maybe some little places need to fill in right there. There you go. But all in all, got it pretty well planted up. You can see I've got one of my little arrowheads in there, which actually, I think that's actually a small knife blade. If you look at this piece, it's kind of lopsided. It has a strong curve on the bottom there. Usually those are small knife blades and stuff like that. And a lot of these that I've picked up over the years, large ones and small ones, they even have tiny ones of these, just like the arrowheads. But you'll find various tools and stuff when you're finding arrowheads out in these farm fields or in the front of caves and so forth. All different kinds of tools, even drills and stuff like that. But this is like a tiny knife blade, and it looks real nice. Right in there, nice little accent there. All little holy rocks. But yeah, that made a nice little arrangement. And so now, we'll go off and we'll do the succulents. Okay, folks, here we are. I've got all little echeverias and graptopetalums all planted up nice. Looking good. I think I'm getting this done almost just in time because we're getting a little dark outside and it's getting kind of dark in the greenhouse with me here. What do you think? Look pretty good, huh? I think I made a real nice arrangement there. Now as these fill out, I mean, a lot of people are going to be going, well, what happens when they grow? Well, when they grow, they'll have to come out and you separate them up into other pots and so forth. But that's not a problem. That's all part of the joy of having these cactus and succulents and other plants is that you get to work with them. And these have turned out real well. And now for the next potting, I'm going to do the Succulents and we'll be done. So in just a minute, I'll have them potted up for you. Okay, folks, there it is. I've got them all planted up. The only things I didn't plant up were these little sempervivums. Because of the fact that we can plant them outside, I think I'm going to hold them back till springtime. And when things warm up and the frost is gone, I'm going to go ahead and plant them within the rock gardens. I think they'll do quite fine there. These little guys are very popular here for planting outside. We've got some growing in our rock gardens, and I really like these for filling in little holes in some of the rocks we have here that have the big holes and stuff. We get some big dolomite rocks that have nice big holes in them, and they're just perfect for planting little succulents in. Excuse me. So I'm going to leave these aside right there. But there it is. All the echeverias, graptopetalums, and there's one little even aeonium in here, right there. The Succulents, I decided to put them in a pot together. They're really cool. The pot I used is a pot that kind of looks like lava rock. If you'll take notice of that. It looks kind of like lava rock. And so I used some crushed lava rock around to dress the plants up. And of course, one of our little holy rocks from the Ozarks. And I found this little piece of lichen just kind of laying outside from where I do my firewood. It come off one of the pieces of firewood, and just looked really cool. I thought I'd just stick that in there too. It won't hurt it a bit. Since I'm not going to be keeping these things wet or anything like that, it'll just stay kind of dry and sit there and be just fine and won't harm anything. But I've got those together. My little cacti. Yeah, everything turned out very nice. Pretty cool, huh? What do you think? Anyhow, I would like to thank my uncle, Walton Smith, up there in St. Mary's, Alaska. Jet, I really appreciate all these. These are very nice plants. They really turned out nice. And I think in the future they're really going to fill out these pots very well. I'd also like to thank his partner up there, Margaret. Thank you very much also. I appreciate the thought of all these nice plants, and I appreciate what you guys have done. I hope you guys stay warm up there. From what you told me this morning, 50 below zero is just a little bit frigid for me. And I imagine a lot of other viewers out there, too, that are into cactus and succulents. I don't think they could probably even fathom how cold that really is. Whoa! Yeah. So anyhow, thank you both very, very much. I really appreciate this. I hope you enjoy the video. And I hope all of you out there enjoy the video as well. I really enjoyed planting these up. It's kind of unusual for me to do this in the middle of winter, so I don't do much planting of cacti and succulents in winter. Usually I'm doing this in the spring and summer. But this was really nice. And for right now, I'm not going to water these at all. I'm going to let them settle in. The only ones that might get a little water is the succulents themselves. The cacti I'll probably leave pretty dry for a month or two until things start warming up a bit here in the greenhouse and kind of stay sunny and they have the temperatures where they can deal with being watered. Right now, most of my cacti and succulents in the greenhouse are pretty well asleep anyway. But anyhow, this is Clyde Morris from Morris Park. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a pleasant good night.